Hello and welcome back to my devlog series for my casual mobile game called Blink. Unfortunately, it's Tuesday afternoon already. This past weekend I spent a lot of time on my last Week in the Life video, so I gave myself the day off yesterday. That said, I did still hop on a Trello to give myself some kind of roadmap for the week. This should be a fun week of development. As we get closer to release, I'm focusing a lot more on gameplay improvements and implementing your viewer feedback, which is really helping me create something I'm proud of. I bet there's something else on here that's also catching your eye. I've been thinking about it a lot recently, so let's chat about it. Currently in Blink, the only way you'll ever see an advertisement is if you choose to watch one in order to continue a failed round. This can only be done once per failed round, and the result is a drastically increased multiplier value that should help you really bump your score up. This will of course help you unlock all the playable characters faster. However, once all the characters are unlocked, you really don't have a reason to watch ads anymore. This is obviously a bit of a problem for me as a developer. Now, I do have a full-time job, but like many other indie devs out there, I long for the days where my games will be my sole source of income. For that reason, I don't really want to put myself in a position where if Blink somehow ends up doing really well, I don't see any revenue from it. This leaves me with two options as I see it. Implement a video advertisement that you see every 5 or so rounds, potentially with a 99-cent purchase to remove it or something like that, or charge $1 or $2 for the game. I really want Blink to be as accessible as possible, so I'm kind of leaning towards the former. So this week I'll probably be implementing some video ads, but I'll be doing it with a kill switch so that I can easily disable them if I decide to. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. I'm pretty curious to hear how both players and other developers feel about tough decisions like this. With all that out of the way, I think I'll kick this week off by implementing some viewer feedback. I got a pretty cool comment from Julia. She proposed that as your multipliers start to stack up, you should see some of the colors in the game start to change. I'm thinking maybe for every 5 multipliers, the player's circle color could change, as well as the particle explosions. That would give a pretty cool feeling of progression as you extended deeper into a single round of play. Let's jump into it. I've been working on this for about 45 minutes. I've got all the logic coded up as well as all the colors selected, but for some reason it seems that I just can't get some of these colors to work. I think number 3 does somehow, but number 2 doesn't, only sometimes. I've got some major issue here, but I'll figure it out after dinner. Alrighty, just finished up a quick dinner, so I'm going to keep at this and try to at least get the player's circle color working before I call it a night and probably take the rest of the evening off. Alrighty, so we got things figured out and I'm able to change the color of the player's fill circle based on the multiplier. So I'll go ahead and show you that by hopefully getting a 2 times multiplier right here. You will see that we still have a problem though. Even though the color is different, it's supposed to be kind of a darker green right now, but it still looks like a washed out yellow. The reason for that is that the default sprite for the player's circle is just yellow rather than white, so all we're doing is applying a tint. What I need to do is go in and make a new sprite for that that's white, and I think all of this should look pretty good. Alright, so I've made the default color of the player circle white so that our tints apply more effectively to it. I'm going to go ahead and continue with the video ad and jump back to the game, and that's going to give me an instant +5 multiplier so we can see some of the newer colors that are added. I think these look really cool. I picked a bunch of colors from the same palette to make sure they wouldn't clash. It is quite a bit different than what I'm used to, and of course I have everything turned down so it's easier to unlock these colors. You won't be able to get through them this quickly. But I think it's a pretty cool enhancement, and in the future I probably want to change the color of the spinning circle here as well as the particles that branch out. I think that'll add a really new kind of dynamic look to the game as you progress further. Cool suggestion. That ended up taking a little bit longer than I thought, but overall that's great progress for this evening. I think I'm going to take the rest of the night off and relax, so I'll catch up with y'all tomorrow. Welcome back everybody. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning around 5:45 a.m. and I'm about to jump right back in where I left off yesterday by updating the new colors for the target circle and the particle effects. Just checking in around 6:30, and I'm happy to report that the color progression system is wrapped up. I created some new sprites and materials to support the new colors for the player circle, target circles, and explosion particles. I also pared my color choices down to 4 colors that were all on the red-yellow spectrum since they're meant to represent light. Finally, I spaced out the multiplier values at which you'll be unlocking these colors. Right now they're set to multipliers of 1, 5, 10, and 20. I think this whole thing turned out pretty well, and to reward myself, I think I'm just going to drink some coffee and play some video games for the rest of the morning. See you soon. So on my drive home from work, I was thinking about what I'd be working on this afternoon, but I realized that between last night and this morning, I haven't combined like 6 hours in Blink so far this week, so I think I might just take the night off. I've got another late volleyball game. I'm going to be up late, going to be tired, so I just kind of want to relax before I have to do that. So I'll probably just play some games tonight and hopefully catch up with y'all tomorrow. Welcome back. It is Thursday afternoon after work, and don't have anything on the schedule tonight, so it's going to be a really nice night of making a little bit of progress on Blink, but also probably just relaxing a bit. I think I want to implement another cool piece of feedback I received, this time from GM Guru. He suggested that as the game goes on longer, the target circles should start to decrease more in diameter. This, along with the bats, would serve to make the game even harder over time and require more precision from the player. I love it, so let's do it. My first attempt here was decreasing the max size of the target circle with each upgraded multiplier. That felt okay, but I had another idea I wanted to try. I wanted to instead try increasing the minimum player's circle growth rate based on the score. So the target circles stay the same, but as your score goes up, the player circle expands more quickly. This ended up being pretty great. When your multiplier improves and your score gets higher, your circle starts to expand quite quickly and things get pretty frantic. This should help prevent astronomical scores, but still reward skilled play. If you stay accurate with the faster fill speed, you should be able to add light back to the forest at a faster rate, which I think is a pretty neat little trade-off. So I got that all wrapped up, and I'm thinking about the rest of the evening here. The last big ticket item for the week is implementing the interstitial video advertisements, but I don't think I want to start on that tonight. Instead, I have a gameplay tweak hanging over my head, and that's to disable the start button on the home screen after you press play again on the in-game screen. Some people hit play again and then immediately start, and based on where the player's flying around, the camera can zoom to a location where the player has just left, and you have no way to play the game. So I've seen a bunch of people do that on device when they test in person, so I'm going to try and knock that out. Hopefully that won't be too difficult. This fix actually ended up being pretty straightforward. I added a public boolean in my camera controller to keep track of whether or not the camera is zooming. Then when I call my start game function, I just check to make sure that the camera is done zooming before we actually start the game. So here in Blink, if we click play again, the camera is going to start zooming out, and if I tap the start game button during that period, nothing should happen. As you just saw, nothing happened when I clicked that a bunch of times there, but now that we're done zooming and everything's set up, should be able to play as normal. So that was a pretty easy fix. So with all that little stuff taken care of tonight, all that's left is the ad implementation, which I think I'll save for the weekend. I'm going to head off and enjoy the rest of my Thursday night, and maybe take Friday off. We'll see. Well, I know I said I might take Friday off, but I woke up this morning feeling productive, so here we are. I've successfully procrastinated any progress until 7 o'clock this morning, and I think I'm going to go ahead and try to knock out the interstitial ads that I want to incorporate after a certain number of rounds played in Blink. I do have to start work a little early today, but I think I should have time to wrap this up. Alright, so we're coming up on 8 o'clock and I've got the interstitial ads implemented. I had to upgrade my ad framework from version 2 point something to 3 point something and change some API calls, but that all made sense and it's working fine. I'll go ahead and show you what this looks like. Basically, if we go ahead and start a round and we play until we lose, we can assume this is maybe the 5th round we've played in a row since booting up the game on our device. When you click play again and we've met the threshold of having played 5 rounds in a row, or that number's still in flux, could be 5, could be 10, whatever feels good. If you've played that certain number of rounds and you hit play again, instead of being directed back to the start game screen immediately, you see this skippable video advertisement. So we can go ahead and click skip, and here we are back at the home screen ready to play again. Now at this point we'll be able to play another 5 or X rounds in a row before we see another advertisement. And of course I developed this with the kill switch in case I want to remove this entirely. I do want to play this on device and see how this feels, and I think it's a positive change for me as an indie developer who wants to make this more than just a hobby at some point. With that, we've knocked out everything planned for this week. Great feeling to see that column empty in Trello. Very stoked about the gameplay improvements this week and all the excellent feedback you guys give me with each devlog. It's super motivating to see that kind of interest in what I'm creating, so thank you. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video and I appreciate you watching. See you in the next one.